Hi, welcome back to the Not My Scene podcast, the podcast where we explore different scenes, communities, subcultures, and corners of the internet and tell you what we find. I'm Yarden.
And I'm Kaya, and we are in the same room today.
This is... I'm freaking out.
Eye to eye.
No, this is crazy. This is such an exciting episode for many reasons.
Today is a movie. So originally we had big plans of us like sitting right next to each other, record. Well, should we not even get into that yet?
No, let's get our admin out of the way.
Yeah. Get the admin out of the way, and then we can discuss our recording
our situation.
Yeah.
So first off, we release every other Tuesday, so make sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a rate, share with your friends who you think would like us. And we will be doing our Scenester Sisters at the end of the episode.
Yes.
We'll be doing some Scenester Sisters from our Cookfluencers episode.
Love.
Yes.
Great feedback on Maggie. The listeners loved Maggie. Maggie will have you back on anytime. Okay, a huge episode. Should we start with what your scene is first? Okay, Den, what is your scene?
Okay, well, this is kind of a prelude to the episode topic, but before Coachella...
Before what?
Before Coachella, I was in LA, and I feel like my scene was really LA maxing.
Oh, okay, love. I think I'm already there with you, but tell me more.
Well, as you know, I went to this free concert that was sponsored by H&M, and it was advertised as a free H&M concert.
Obviously huge fans of H&M. Nothing wrong with H&M.
Sponsor us. Doechii was headlining, and Jamie XX was performing, as well as Robin.
Love.
But that whole event was just the most LA thing I could ever imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was so influencery.
And
it was
who did
insane.
you see there?
Who did I see there?
Yeah, you saw someone important and equestrian there.
Oh, horse girl. Yeah, I saw horse girl in the wild. For those that don't know, Horse Girl is a DJ who her whole shtick is she performs dressed like a horse. But more than just dressed, like, her face is a horse.
Her face is that of a horse. And Den was telling me now that she saw her in person that, like, it's not just, like, she has a mask on. It's, like, the mask is, like, attached to her face.
Yeah, that's why I say her face is a horse.
We're big fans, Horse Girl. If you want to come on the pod, we love
We'd
you.
love to have you on. Miss Horse. But yeah, I think my whole week was very LA coded. I was eating a lot of avocado toast on tartine bread. I had my nails done. I was seeing celebrities. I saw Dan Levy at a restaurant.
Huge.
And that was, I don't know, it's all a great intro into our Coachella episode, because Coachella is basically an extension of LA.
No, literally. I have never felt like I was LA maxing so much as when I was not in LA, in Indio, California.
Yeah. So what was your scene?
Okay, this is short and sweet, but for any listeners out there who like the Beauty of Joseon sunscreen, I used to really like it, but there's like some hullabaloo with the tariffs and RFK Jr. and things beyond my powers that I guess now it's not allowed in the US, and there's like a new formula on Amazon and the formula isn't the same. Anyways, long story short, it has a really nice like milky texture. And it's good for dry skin girls. Oh. And I went, yeah, you should check it out. And I went to Sephora because I needed a new sunscreen for my face in advance of Coachella. And I got the Innisfree sunscreen. It's another Korean beauty brand, I think. And it was only like $18, and it's great. Wait. I think it's way better than Supergoop. So
yeah, I'm kind of a Supergoop hater.
I am too. I don't like how the sunscreen feels like wax, kind of.
Yeah.
or like it's like how I would imagine plasma would feel on your skin, you know? Like it creates a weird film. Anyways, I like the Innisfree sunscreen, and it's pretty affordable for a face sunscreen, so highly recommend.
Nice. Not sponsored, but could be.
Could be. If any K-beauty brands listen, could be sponsored.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do something drastic to the skateboarder.
Well, let's tell the listeners why the windows are open. And the reason is we got Coach at Coachella.
We got Coachella. Well, I don't have it yet, but unclear. Yeah, basically, we had heard a lot online. Neither of us had ever been to Coachella before. We had heard online that it's like, oh, you know, you're breathing in all this dust the whole weekend. You're in the desert. You get the Coachella cough. And sure enough, Den got a cough Sunday night. So Den came back with me to the Bay after Coachella because we were like, we're going to do so many pod things this week. We're going to record a ton. We're going to do our first in-person episode. It's going to be huge.
And all we've done is post a TikTok of the grass saying this and the knowledge that the dare went to Lewis and Clark. So blow that up.
Yes, go show our TikTok some love. We've been down bad. Sunday evening, Den has a cough. It's giving like that energy, open mouth.
Okay, not yet at that point. It was just scratchy throat, but...
Okay, it's just scratchy throat. She gets the cough on Monday, and progressively we're feeling sicker as the week goes on.
Peaking at like Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm feeling much better now, although you can probably still tell that I'm sick from my voice.
Yeah, it's cool. It's sexy. It's deep.
It's why everyone should spend an hour yelling into their pillow before they go out. Did I tell you about this?
No. Who said that?
One of Sophie's friends.
Whoa.
She'll like scream, not for an
She'll
hour, but she'll scream into her pillow so you get that like sexy raspy voice.
Oh my God, that's so... We should do it before we record the pod. Anyways, Den took a COVID test, and that shit was positive. And I took a few COVID tests. I'm still negative,
but you did.
I slept like 20 hours.
Yeah,
definitely not feeling tip top. Anyways, so we have recovered enough. We're recording together, so we're in the same room, but Den is sitting in a chair. We have the windows open. I'm in my bed.
Yeah, we're taking reasonable precautions.
Yeah, we're trying to keep the airflow good. So if you can hear the skateboarder, that is why.
Yes. But Coachella,
so much to discuss,
which is why we're splitting it into a two-parter.
Yeah.
And we went the hardo route for our first Chella.
Dude, we did.
So we did camp. So this episode will be focused primarily on the camping experience.
Yes. And then our next episode is going to be talking about the festival itself. So we've got a big two-parter plan for you. But should we get into camping?
And we do have some on-the-ground interviews that we'll be inserting as well. So
I was running around the festival, embarrassing myself, going up to people.
She was so brave. Okay, let's talk about camping.
Okay, well, starting off, I thought it would be good for us to talk a little bit about, like, our past festival camping experience. Because I feel like in doing this episode, we were like, okay, we're going to do Coachella. We want to understand why do people go to Coachella? What's up with Coachella? Like, it's, like, such a specific thing. Some people go every year. Obviously, you have, like, the influencers, but you also have the, like, Coachella hardos who go every single year, and they're like, it's the best festival ever. And they keep going back. So,
yeah, and also I really wanted to figure out like how like cheaply and logistically relatively simply could you do it, because it seemed so daunting.
Yeah.
It's not in a city where there's plenty of housing or like hotels or Airbnbs. Like there's already like a limited pool of housing, and then the festival itself is kind of in the middle of nowhere. So wherever you stay, if you don't camp, you'd have to get there.
Yeah, no matter which way you slice it, it's going to be hard. And like, it's also, we've camped at festivals before, but Coachella is like, you're going to such a like not toxic, but like such an inhospitable.
Yes.
The land is inhospitable, and so am I. Love you, Mitski. Like, it's an inhospitable place.
Yeah, like as soon as you drive away from India or away from Palm Springs and you're like between towns or you're just like on the highway, you're like, wow, this is not meant for humans or many animals to live in.
Yeah, and like we have all these people who are at the festival, like getting drunk and running around in the heat for 10 hours. But we also have all these people, like hundreds of thousands of people who are camping in this environment. So we were definitely like nervous about it logistically. And I feel like after we committed and we were like, we're doing this, we definitely both reached a point where we were like, this is impossible logistically. Like, how do people do this?
Especially if you don't already live within driving distance, because everyone in our group flew in.
Yeah.
So definitely easier if you live in LA or somewhere else in Southern California.
Yeah, yeah. But I think regardless of how I feel about if I would go back to the festival, which we'll get back into later, but I do feel like I'm at a place now where the logistics of camping are not that intimidating to me. And so hopefully listeners, if anyone wants to go, I feel like we figured it out for pretty cheap, and I know what I would do if I went back now. And we're going to do a full price breakdown later in the episode on like how much we spent and how cheaply you can do Coachella.
Yeah. First we wanted to talk about our prior festival camping experience.
Yeah. Okay, so we had both camped at the Gorge in Washington before, which is for people who aren't from the area, it's like is it high desert?
I think
it's desert.
I think it is technically desert because it's in Eastern Washington or Central Eastern Washington, but it's not as extreme as Indio. It's not as extreme as Coachella.
And we had camped there for Sasquatch, RIP. That festival no longer exists. We did that in college, and then we've also camped there for like individual shows, like Boy Genius.
Yeah.
So I will say one thing that I noticed is when you camp at the Gorge, I feel like it's like at least a mile walk.
It's always longer than I think it's going to be.
Yeah, from your campsite to the venue itself, it's definitely at least a mile walk. I think it might even be a little more than a mile. Like it takes like half an hour to get in. Compared to that, the walk from the campground to the festival and Coachella was like nothing. Like I feel like
and we were in one of the last campsites, like furthest away.
We were literally the furthest away you could be in one direction because we were in the very back row. Like next to us was wall.
Can we just talk about, let's get into it, like of how people try to get close
to get into camp this year. That was brutal. That sucked.
How long were you in line?
11 hours.
11 hours? What time did you get here?
3 a.m, and we didn't get in till
12:30.
Yeah, like 12:30, something like that.
Yeah.
My gosh. Yeah. Driving in is like this whole thing that we were researching in advance. Like people will plan to get to so Coachella starts Friday midday, and then they had like I think this is a relatively new thing, but they've been expanding the like campground activities recently. So they had DJs performing Thursday night, like the night before the festival
started. And that's called Day Zero.
Day Zero. So people will start going to the festival at
like Wednesday night.
So
day -1.
Yeah, day -1. People are getting there at like midnight to 2 a.m. To get in line so that they can get a good spot for camping and set up in the middle of the night and then go back to sleep while it's quote unquote still cool, like cold, which to me, any idea of being cool is just, it's fantasy. It's not real. You cannot be cool.
Well,
we didn't get lucky with weather, but like at no point was it cold. We kept being like, it's clear that there's a lot of people here from LA because it would be like 80 degrees and people would have their sweatshirts on, like walking around camp at night.
I just think it's crazy because the whole idea of people lining up that early is just so that they can get a good camping spot, which means closer to the entrance of the festival so that they don't have to walk as far into the festival. But the maximum amount that you're walking is like 15, maybe 20 minutes if you're walking slow.
Yeah, I feel like it took us like 10 minutes each day
And we were far.
And we were all the way at the edge. I mean, maybe we
And
were
it
like
was
kind of
flat.
central, but we were all the way at the edge of the perimeter wall. And it's flat. It was super, super hot. So that sucked. But
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did kind of destroy us because it was so hot. But I would still much rather do that walk than wait in the car. For people, we're waiting for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
It was a particularly bad year, we heard.
So I think normally it's pretty easy. Like if you get there in like the middle of the night, you should be in like an hour or two and it goes well and you have a really good spot. But this year there was a new security company, and so people were getting there in the middle of the night and then they were waiting in line for 12 hours, and we were like live on the Reddit doing research, and people were like, people are shitting in bushes and like peeing on the street.
Yeah.
And we saw photos of people who like had to park their car in line and put up a sign that said like going to get gas, because everyone was like running air conditioning because it was 100 degrees, and they literally were in line for 12 hours, like nightmarish scenario.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'm so glad we didn't do that. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to anyway with our flight schedules, but
yeah.
that is a crazy element of this culture.
But I will say something I like still don't really understand, and I would love to hear from someone who goes to Coachella regularly. If you are listening, if you can please write in. I don't understand how you make up the sleep, I guess. If you're pulling an all-nighter Wednesday night to have a closer spot, like, I just want to understand more how that's worth it.
think
And maybe this
people-
is like me in my late 20s.
I know, I was just going to say, I think they're just like 20.
Yeah, probably.
But it is crazy that people do that like every year. And I know on the other extreme end, if you're really lax about when you get in, there's a possibility you could miss the first set you want to see Friday, like we did here.
Yeah, I talked to a girl in the Postmates activation who was like, she said that she got there Friday morning one year and then like missed one of the early sets she wanted to see. So for us, our experience was, I think we got there around like 4, and it took about 2.5 hours for us to get in by like 6:30, which honestly wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I thought we didn't even get there till like 5, but
yeah, maybe it was closer to 5. We'll say we didn't wait more than like 2.5 hours total.
But something about our entrance experience is that we were really trying to be spotted by the secret spotters.
Yeah, we should talk about this because this is something I didn't really know about until right before. So Coachella has this program for people who are driving into if you're not camping, you can do it by driving into the festival, like carpooling with your friends and parking on the scene, or you can do it by driving into camping, and it's called Carpoolchella, and this is something that I hyper fixated on. Apparently Coachella has these like secret spotters posted, has these like, I don't know, secret spotters.
Oh, like you don't know the term.
Something like secret spotters. I was literally obsessed. They're posted in the entrances, and if you've put up signs or written on your car, Carpoolchella, and apparently it doesn't matter how shitty your design is, it just has to say Carpoolchella. But some people have like amazing designs, and we just had one little paper sign that we'll put up somewhere.
Oh yeah, we
it
should post it on the Instagram.
Yeah, we pulled it together very last minute. It was like an 8x11 piece of paper. But if you get secret spotted and you have 4 people in your car and you're coming in either to day park for the day or to go into camping, you can win. They'll like let you draw from prize tickets, and the tickets can either be like $50 of merch, $50 of food, or like VIP upgrades for the whole group for the day, guest/artist pass upgrades for the whole group, or VIP for life for the whole group.
And wasn't backstage pass also one of them, or maybe that was part of
that was like the guest/artist, but yeah, like really good stuff.
Yeah,
so I was fixating on this the whole,
because not that many people were driving in with like 4 people in their car.
Yeah, and this gets also to a point, which is that I think we really jam-packed everything. Like, we had 4 people in our car. We had 1 car for our 1 campsite, which I think you have to have a car per campsite, but we only had 1 campsite for the 4 of us, which I think is about the maximum amount of people you could have in a campsite.
So we were doing it as cheaply as possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people had crazy setups, or they would come. I think I saw one where it was 16 cars for a group, because they'll number each car and they'll be like 1 out of 16, 2 out of 16, so you can see it written on the car. And yeah, and then if you drive in together, they put you in sequential campsites so you could create like one massive campsite.
Yeah.
But if you have just your one car, like your area is really small.
Yeah, our area, it's 10 by 10, like not including the car, I'm pretty sure. 10 feet by 10 feet. But yeah, we were kind of losing our minds driving in, waiting in line. Den and I were doing a manifestation chant.
Should we do it?
Yeah.
Secret spotter, spot our swag. Secret spotter, spot our
joy.
Okay.
And we did that for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And we did not get secret spotted, sadly. Something else that we saw when we were going in is we were like, we're going to be the oldest people at this. But there was actually a group of people who were probably like in their late 40s, early 50s. And we were like, nice. Like, they're going into the festival too. And they were in the security line next to us. And then when we were going in, their car broke down. And so then they had to push their car through the security line, which was so brutal.
That would have been a really rough start.
Yeah.
So, all things said, we had a pretty smooth entrance process.
Yeah, and by the time we got in at like 6:30, it was not that hot. Okay, we should also say the whole weekend we were there, it was like 98 to 101 degrees.
Yeah,
high.
it was crazy.
It was literally intolerable. It was like,
And any negative thing I say about the festival or like opinions about whether I would return, I think is greatly colored by the heat.
yes, 100%.
Like not even by having COVID now. That is a small price compared to the price of how hot it was.
I would have 100% rather tested positive for COVID Monday morning and been 5 degrees cooler the whole weekend. It was so hot. I would have rather been forced to be in the pit for Travis Scott and had it be like 10 degrees cooler.
Yeah. And we went weekend 1. So weekend 2 is happening now. And apparently it's like 20 degrees cooler than last weekend.
Yeah, sounds nice.
Yeah.
But we really experienced like as close as you can get to hell-like temperatures on Earth.
And sometimes hell-like conditions.
Mm-hmm.
I think the closest to hell is being in the porta potties at the campground like midday before you go into the festival when everyone's been using them all morning. They haven't cleaned them yet and it's baking in there.
Okay, I think the closest to hell, getting really personal on here, is when I had a bathroom emergency on Friday night and it was still like 100 degrees and there was no toilet paper in my porta potty, so I had to contact Den to get her to bring me more toilet paper, but we didn't have good phone service, and so I had to wait for like 10 minutes in the porta potty until she got phone service back and then ran back to the bathroom area to give me toilet paper.
Yeah, that's brutal.
It was like, oh, and there was someone like projectile scream vomiting in the porta potty next to me. That was
everyone's bodies were just freaking out
because you're like not supposed to be in a situation like that. I feel like the whole weekend I was like, am I about to have a bathroom emergency because of the heat? Like my body was like,
it was cooking everything.
yeah, sous vide guts. It was so bad. And I didn't even like eat anything the whole time. That was maybe one benefit of it being so hot is we didn't spend that much money on food because it was so hot. We had like no appetite the whole time.
The main thing we ate at our campsite was Uncrustables that we kept cold in the cooler, which was so good.
Yeah, shout out Coachella Reddit. That was a recommendation we got from there, and they hit so hard. Like, I saw someone before we went being like, my food for the weekend is a 30 rack of beers and a 30 pack of Uncrustables. And I was like, that's funny. But honestly, in retrospect, all I needed was a 30 pack of Uncrustables. Yeah. Later on in the episode, I have also made a list of things that I think you do need and things that I don't think you need, de-influencing for camping. So we can talk about that later. But something that was funny to me about camping also, and like maybe this is not specific to Coachella, but it cracks me up when you're camping at festivals how people like kind of signal their sense of humor through their camp setup.
Yeah,
like,
that's such a big thing.
The girls next to us had like a hanging tapestry on one side that was Gibby from iCarly.
Yeah.
And then on the other side it was This is the skin of a killer, Bella. And it was like Edward
Like,
sparkling.
it's just random memes on flags.
Yes. And like, you know, I saw a lot of the Nicki Minaj saluting,
Yeah.
like President Nicki Minaj flag.
There was that not in front of my salad, like, screenshot from that porno.
But I'm like, are people buying these like meme tapestries?
Did you see that one where they had like 3 campsites and the whole perimeter was walled by flags?
No.
I was like, you spent so much
Like,
money on meme flags.
They were all meme flags. They weren't like
Yeah.
country flags. It would be
Yeah.
kind of cool to do country flags if you were like an international group.
Yeah, that would be nice. Definitely a lot of brat flags.
A lot of brat. So that's one way that you can cut down on costs if you don't want to, is you don't have to do meme flags for your campground. It really reminded me of like being in a fraternity. Like, I feel like that's the
Yeah.
last place I've seen like meme flags
Yeah.
used as decor, but they were everywhere. And I also feel like other than the brat flags, they were all like meme flags that had been generated in like 2014 to 2016.
Right. Because you can't. Memes move so fast, so it's kind of crazy to buy a physical meme like that.
Yeah. Also, like, the meme flag generating factory has been shut down since we graduated college. Like, they just have those mid 2010s memes.
Yeah.
No one's creating like meme flags of like.
No one's creating like the deep fried memes on meme.
No one's creating like reheating nachos meme flags.
No.
Yeah, so that was something interesting about the campground culture that I observed. Okay, so Thursday night, we get in. We've been in line for 2.5 hours. We set up camp, and then we're going to go to Chris Lake.
Yes. So for day 0, they had this DJ Chris Lake doing a set. Yeah.
I had like not really heard of Chris Lake until pretty recently before Coachella, but I got really into his music like right before we went. I feel like it's like very smooth brain party music.
Yeah.
I love the Somebody That I Used to Know remix. Huge Chris Lake fans now.
Yeah, it was super fun.
And I will also, so it was interesting. We set up camp and then we go to the like area. We didn't really know what to expect in terms of like how there was going to be a DJ that was
I
like
honestly
super popular.
thought it was going to be a lot more low key.
Yeah, it was not low key. It was very structured. There was like a whole camping hub area that was about halfway from our campground to the like gates of the festival, and I think on the other side of the camping hub area it was all like preferred camping, I'm assuming. And
That's the thing. Even if you wait all night, you're not going to get the best campsite unless you paid for it.
Yeah, which is kind of like a theme with Coachella.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like if you're not paying for things to be extra good,
Yeah.
like you're not going to get them.
No.
Because everything
And
is
then-
like so heavily monetized and tiered.
Totally. And there's tiers within the camping too, like not just how close you are, but they have some where it's like a tent that's already set up and there's AC.
Yeah.
And then the safari one, which is like insane, and it's $12,000 for 2 people.
And you get guest passes.
Yeah.
And you get like breakfast burritos.
And you
every
get like a
day.
golf cart ride to everywhere in the festival.
But if you do it our way, you get a 30,000 step count every day.
Hell yeah.
And it's very affordable. Our camping was $40 a person for us, so
Yeah.
it worked well. So yeah, there's like this camping hub, and there's a ton of established food vendors that are there, so you can get like food and drinks and stuff there. And then there was like a pickleball court and
Yeah.
a basketball hoop.
There was like a Wi-Fi area with beanbag chairs where people were doing work on their laptops.
There was a place you could get tattoos and body piercings,
Yeah.
which, speaking of a hostile environment, I feel like it
Oh,
would have been
God.
so hard to keep a tattoo healthy.
Yeah. Or like
Um,
any body piercing.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
Yeah. To bring that into the porta potty. Day
Oh. Also, for day 0, some people were already fitted. Like,
Mm-hmm.
people were using it as an opportunity for another outfit, We did not. We barely got set up in time to go.
Mm-hmm.
So we just wore our comfy car clothes, ate an Uncrustable, and
Ran
went.
over.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was really nice. This is something that I liked about camping in general, is I love, like, getting to be really low down in front of strangers.
Me too.
And feel like just so like I'm camping and I'm get to wear whatever I want and be crazy, and I don't know who any of these people are. And that, so like, I don't know, like walking to go pee in the morning and like brushing my teeth. I feel like I was just always so low down physically when I was walking around the campground. And it was a very nice contrast to the rest of Coachella being like so fitted up. Not that we were like so fitted up,
but we were wearing our boots.
We were wearing our boots, and it made the festival feel a little bit more like low key and down to earth to get to be like.
I think people really like that community aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like, we're all living together. You really are living, like, so close to strangers.
Yeah. And people were super friendly. Like, when we went up to interview them, I feel like people were very nice.
And when we were getting set up, we were having trouble with our canopy, and our neighbor helped us.
Mm-hmm. And it's just fun to, like, look like shit in front of people. I feel like it's, like, a fun suspension of real life where you're, like, 100,000 people or however many people who are like camped here right now, like this is our like village, and we're all gonna run around. And so I liked that about it.
But at the show itself,
people were fitted. Some people weren't, like us, but there was a DJ booth and like a big dance floor that was under a covered like a
tent.
Circular canopy. It was kind of funny because normally when you go see a concert, you know, like everyone is in front of the stage, and the back of the stage is like you can't get back there unless you're doing something really bad.
Or you're like part of it.
Yeah, a groupie or something. But this, you like just walked up and he was like just facing away. Like you could really clearly see the back of the DJ and the back area, because it was just like they had just put the DJ area at the back of this tent, but it was a circular tent, so there were no walls, and you could walk up right behind it. So we watched him for a while from behind, and it was kind of funny.
Yeah, he just was doing a little bounce.
Yeah, moving his hips a little bit. And it was funny to like watch everyone like penned in, like everyone in the pen, like jumping, because there was like picket fences around the like central area of the stage.
But we were not in the thick of it in the crowd. We weren't yet accustomed to the heat, so we felt like it would be really hot and sweaty to be in there. And also, it's like, personally for me, for DJs, I don't feel like any desire to be super close. I'd rather have room to dance.
Especially because we could be super close to his back from behind.
And it was fun. We would like dance around in the back where there was lots of space, but we would also go and explore because we were getting to know the campgrounds and the camp hub.
Yeah. Honestly, that night was really fun. Like, I think
it was.
The night of day 0 was definitely one of my highlights because we were not in the heat at all. Like, by the time we got out of the car, it was pretty cool. And it very much felt like camp.
Yeah.
Like for adults.
And there's so much anticipation in the air. The one fun part that we missed was for sunset, everyone goes and sits on this hill, which apparently is really fun as well, which I can imagine. Like, that's like people really hype for the start of everything.
Yeah. We didn't get to do that,
but Chris Lake was super fun. Also, we were checking out some of the activities at the campground, and we didn't actually end up having time or energy to participate in any of them because before we would go into the festival each day, we were just trying to expend as little energy as possible and sitting in our canopy.
Literally.
But they had so many activities.
And they were so weird. Like, I'm going to try to remember them off the top of my head.
Like, it would be like human ring toss. Like, what does that mean? Like, are you throwing the humans?
Musical chairs, bring me the chairs.
It was called, quote, bring me musical chairs. Like, does that mean bring your own chair? Like, it's so unclear.
It must mean or it just means we're all cleaning up the campground
today.
Like,
it sounds like it's tricking kids into cleaning up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they meant, but there were a lot of goofy sounding activities and we didn't participate in it. There was also supposed to be a 5K, which I think happened Saturday morning, but that's actually so insane. We shouldn't have had the 5K.
That's like dangerous.
Yeah, because it was, as we mentioned, 100 degrees. Okay, so we had a really crazy experience at Chris Lake. Do we want to talk about it?
Yeah. So I've actually seen a few videos since Coachella weekend one talking about this group that we experienced our first night, and that was the Monks of Stoke.
Yeah. Okay. So basically what happened was we were all dancing. We had like our group of 4 people. We were way far away from Chris Lake, like out in the field, being very free and wild with our dance moves. And everyone in our group was like probably under 5'8", I would say. Sorry, Sam, I don't know how tall you are. But we didn't have any like looming shadows in the group. And all of a sudden, what felt like 20, I would say 20.
Yeah.
Everyone is very tall and they all have these like very long, flowing, shapeless kind of robes that are tie-dyed, and they were lit like either from within or I
think they were wearing like string lights.
Yeah, string lights like draped around them, and then on their robes it said the Monks of Stoke. And they surrounded us and they were running by, and I think I like wooed, and then they were like, yes, and they like locked in on my woo, and they were like, you arrived, you made it, you're here. And I was like, I'm here. And then they surrounded us.
Yeah, and I didn't hear any of that before. All of a sudden, from my perspective, we were just surrounded by
like the tallest people,
tie-dye lit up people. It was kind of amazing.
They surround us, and then they started like dancing around us, and then we formed like a dance circle, of course, and then people were going in the center of the circle and dancing with Stoke. And we were kind of cheering and clapping, and then I thought that it was going to be over.
Yeah, we thought that was the peak.
It wasn't.
No. So then they started asking us, do you want to be celebrated? And first, our friend Sam said yes.
Yeah.
And they didn't say what being celebrated meant. They just, as soon as he said yes, they were all like, he said yes.
He said yes. He said yes. What have we just signed up for? What ritual is about to happen? Yeah. So then they take Sam, and we're like all standing watching, and they circle around Sam really close, and they're like, stiff as a board, stiff as a board.
Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Light as a feather, stiff as a board. And then he stiffens and he sticks his legs out, and
he's like lying flat.
He's lying flat. They all have picked him up, and then I did not hear this the first time they said it, but they do 3 tiny lifts in the air, and they go, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And then they throw him like really high in the air.
Yeah.
Because they're like 20 men
crazy.
with the strength of horses.
Well, there were women too.
Yeah, but we later discovered the women don't normally do the throwing.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and he gets like freaking launched into the air. It was a crazy experience. And then our other friend agreed to also be celebrated. She weighs like 100 pounds, and we were like, oh my god, she's gonna
I was scared.
We were scared.
In the video we took of her, you can hear me screaming because I was like convinced they were gonna launch her too high, and like she was gonna like fly out of their arms.
Fly out of reach.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone was going out of their arms.
No, I know, but like out of their circle, like move horizontally.
Yeah, like UFO style. Yeah. And she probably went like, I don't know, like 5 feet above their hands. Like she went really high.
Check out our TikTok.
Yeah,
Not My Scene.
We have footage
TikTok.
of it on the TikTok. Go look. So that was insane. And then as soon as they finished celebrating our friends, they put them down and they just like evaporated into the crowd. Yeah, so that was definitely like part of the highlight of Thursday for me. It was just so funny, and they were so committed to the bit.
The monks really did. Yeah.
They left an impression.
We had a special time in part due to them, so thank you.
Thank you, monks. So then we were like, who are these monks? And we really wanted to interview people. And we were like, they would be a really good group to interview because it seems like they've been coming for years. Like, they have this very coordinated group and, like, clearly they're doing something here. Like, we don't really know what the deal is with the Stoke and being celebrated, but we want to know more. And so we planned to try to find them at camping, and then we couldn't find them at camping. But then I ran into them, or I spotted them at...
You were their secret spotter.
Yes, secret spotter, spot our
Stoke.
I spotted them before
It was like
sunset,
early in the day on Friday.
Early in the day on Friday, and I asked them to do an interview, and they were super nice. Shout out one of the guys. He said his daughter's name is Kaya, and it's spelled the same way as me. But yeah, the interview was enlightening. It was not really what I expected. But here's the interview with the Monks of Stoke. Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. So, is this your first Coachella? Have you been before? What's your
first time?
This is our second year.
This is my first time.
Okay, and this group that you're part of, what do you call yourselves?
So my husband had a dream where he went up to heaven and he felt like he was in the throne room. And then he saw God the Father, and the Father breathed on him like this. And he said, "Spread the Stoke." And there he is. And he felt he's a surfer. He's a surfer, so like he knew what that was. Like he knew what the Stoke is, because after you get an amazing wave, and you get a barrel or something, it's like surfer language for that was the most amazing thing that has ever happened to me. And like you get high, right? You get high on like the joy and the fun, and you just feel amazing. And so when he had that encounter, like basically he knew what that meant. It was just John 10:10, spread the goodness of God, right? And there's so many people that come to this festival that are spiritual, that are open spiritually, and that are seeking and just love like the festival culture, right? So then he saw this like picture of a monk robe. I guess it was like a tie-dye monk robe. And so then that kind of gave him the idea of like, well, we should do this, but let's not do it alone. Like, let's bring a group. Let's bring a big group of people, and it'll be so much fun. And so like our whole entire goal is just to spread joy and to spread love, and to really embrace people that maybe would never like know the love of Jesus or the love of God in their lives, except for because they would never come to a church. They would not want to. It's more that like we're just coming to them, and a lot of times we'll end up like hugging people or just loving on them, praying for them, celebrating them, like last night, like throwing them up. So the guys mostly do that. Some of the girls do it, but like a lot of times people are like, they'll go, okay, are you ready to be celebrated? And then they'll just say, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and throw them up. And then they just like get blasted with joy. And last night we were dancing in like a big group and doing a conga line and just releasing joy. And then one girl came up to us, me and Bethany, Luke's wife, and was like, oh my gosh, we love your vibe. Like, can you hug me? And we're like, yes, we can hug you. And we hugged her and just blessed her and prayed for her. And so I think we're just wanting to represent Jesus with love instead of judgment. And that's the biggest difference, I think, with us. Like, that's what we want. So it's so cool. Thank you.
So yeah, it was not what I expected. Like, I feel like when we interacted with them at Chris Lake, I thought that they were maybe like...
I thought they were more like druggy
drugs.
hippies.
Yeah.
But they're like Jesus hippies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which makes sense. They went weekend 1, weekend 2, Easter.
Oh, so true. Yeah.
But like what they were doing, very he has risen coded.
Our friends rose. But yeah, it was really fun. Honestly, I'm down with what they're doing. They were super nice.
Yeah.
And I think going into Coachella, I was like, there's a specific type of person that goes to Coachella, especially weekend 1, which like kind of gets the rep of being all of like the influencers and celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like so for the brands. And these people were like not that vibe. And
Yeah.
I didn't expect to interact with
They
people
were for the
spreading
brand
the word of Jesus.
of Christianity.
Yeah, different type of brand activation.
And like surfing.
And surfing.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were really nice. They were just
No.
like spreading like the love of Jesus.
Yeah. In the way that they know how.
And we felt it. It felt really good on Thursday.
We loved the monks. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. So thanks again for talking to us. And that was the monks.
Yes.
So that was Thursday.
We should talk about what it was like sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to walk through our camp setup?
Yeah. So we did rent a Tesla. Not our
Cancel
first
us.
choice.
Fuck Elon Musk.
But I mean, we were just renting it from some guy on Turo. Like, it wasn't like Tesla was making money from us. Well, I guess from the charging.
From the charging. Okay, in our defense, we tried to rent a Rivian. We had the Rivian rented. But then like the car that we rented didn't have the proper converter, so we weren't going to be able to charge it at any of the charging stations. So we had to make a last minute switch to the Tesla, which was super cheap on Turo.
Yeah.
Because the tide of public opinion has kind of drawn very far out.
At least in California.
Yeah.
And we were kind of scared it was going to get keyed.
But it didn't. There were a lot of Teslas there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But it was really nice to have an electric car there because we were able to run AC at night.
Yeah.
So we had 2 people sleeping in the Tesla with the seats down and a mattress that fit in the Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
And it has camp mode. I don't want to promote the features of the Tesla.
We won't promote the features. We'll just say if you have an electric car at Coachella, it's nice because you can like have a steady flow of AC all night and you won't die in 100-degree heat. And it's a lot quieter because you're in a car.
And then we would rotate with 2 people sleeping in there and then 2 people sleeping in like a 3-person tent, which we had under our shade canopy to avoid all of the direct sun rays hitting in the morning.
Mm-hmm. But by like 9, it was really, really hot.
It was pretty unbearable to be in there by like 9, yeah.
And then by like 10 or 11, I feel like the sun was starting to creep under the canopy from the other direction. And it was just brutal being at camp.
Yeah. And some people have like curtains framing their whole canopy, so that blocks some of the sun as well as gives more privacy. But again, we were pretty low budge, low tech, so we luckily benefited from our neighbors that had walls.
Yeah, so that's something. We didn't bring any walls. And honestly, it was fine. Like, it was brutal around like 11 or noon when the light would start to get in, but you definitely don't need. I was like panicking before we went and like, do we need to buy like a tapestry? Do I need to buy a meme flag to like protect us?
The cheapest option honestly is to get a bunch of meme flags. So we both experienced sleeping in both the tent and the Tesla. I slept in the tent the first night and it was really loud. That was the worst part, I would say. It was definitely really warm as well, but it wasn't too bad at night. You couldn't sleep in, obviously, but the noise was pretty brutal just because even on, I think almost especially on day 0,
I think especially day
people
0.
were partying. They had all of their energy and I guess they wanted to use it up.
They had to get their wiggles out before Coachella.
Yeah.
There were people like a few tents down from us who were definitely on some kind of stimulating substance.
Yeah.
And they were listening to Charlie XCX so late all throughout the night.
Yeah.
So that was brutal. And I slept in the Tesla the first night and it was good in most ways, but I was very scared to open the door to the Tesla to get out to go pee because I did not have a good understanding of how the lights would function.
Yeah.
But it was a more comfy sleep.
Yeah, the Tesla, when I got to experience it, was nice. I also just felt trapped, like, because of the door situation.
Yeah, so you generally feel trapped in the Tesla, but it's quiet and you have AC.
Yeah.
But you do feel like you're about to freak the fuck out because it's like kind of claustrophobic.
Yeah.
So you just have to stay calm. And in the tent, you feel open and free, but it's really
You can
loud.
thrash around.
You can thrash around, but it's going to be pretty toasty.
Yeah.
And
So
that was sleeping situation.
Friday, I woke up pretty early because being in the tent. And then, a lot of sitting around, trying to just be in the shade.
Yeah.
We did all experience the showers.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk about the shower. Okay, well, to the sitting around point, I just want to say, like, I think this is maybe where, like, being more high budget would benefit you. But I felt like there was no, like, we weren't really like hanging out at camp, and like that's partly why I didn't understand why people would get there Wednesday night, because it was just so hot. Even when you're in the shade, like just the base air temperature was so hot that we were kind of just like sitting, like
we weren't
like playing cards or like hanging out. Really, it was kind of.
But I also wasn't bored. I feel like
I wasn't bored because I was just powered off. I was like a dog in a hot car.
But I feel like, because we went into the festival pretty early, the time went by pretty fast.
Yes.
And also because everything we were doing, like, we would move really slowly.
Because we were sedated from
like, it was
heat.
like, sit around for a little bit when you wake up, slowly maybe eat something.
If you can stomach it with the heat.
Slowly make your way to the showers. The shower line was not that bad.
Shower line was fine. Honestly, that was a huge benefit. I have camping at the gorge, you don't get free showers, and the showers were super nice. We showered every day. They were free. Bring shower shoes.
Yeah.
Cold water. So nice.
Cold or hot water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the most I had to wait was like 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. I heard that the line was like an hour, maybe in the afternoon, but
yeah, I never waited more than 10 minutes, and I wouldn't have been able to because it was in direct sun.
Right. Yeah, and then you slowly make your way back. You have to like fill up water, take care of camp stuff. Yeah.
I feel like there should be more water refill stations.
Definitely.
That was one of my takeaways. It takes a long time to get water, especially because people are like filling up really big jugs, which everyone was super nice. If you just had a water bottle, generally people would let you fill up your water bottle, and then they'd keep filling up their big like camp jugs, but there just weren't that many water refill stations
and it was
in general.
Pretty far away from where we were camping. That was the one downside of our location.
So that's the showers, the water. Something else that was interesting about camp that I didn't expect was I haven't like camped at a festival in a while. And I'm a great lover of peeing outside when I'm camping in the woods. There is nowhere to pee outside at Coachella because everyone is like
that would have made it so nice, especially in the middle of the night.
Yeah, we really wanted to, but we couldn't because the polo field would have been like flowing with streams of piss if people were peeing outside.
Yeah, you're so packed in there like sardines, and there's always people walking by.
I felt like there wasn't even really anywhere to spit our toothpaste, except there was because we were in the back row, so there was like a little sandy patch. But if you were not in the back row, like I don't know where you would, I guess on the grass.
Some people were brushing their teeth at the water refill.
Yeah, so it was very like there was not much grass to use outside of your campground. Apparently people bring cat litter boxes and will use that to go to the bathroom if they have to pee in the middle of the night.
Or people will bring portable toilets.
Yeah.
Like we saw a Reddit post where someone talked about their neighbor bringing one, which sounds pretty disgusting because it's like all of their human waste sitting out there next to like where you're preparing your food.
Dude, that would have been my final straw. I would have freaked out.
Yeah. That would have been horrible.
Yeah. So yeah, I would have liked more water, but the showers were great. No soap by the porta potties. That was kind of a bummer.
That was a bummer because there was hand sanitizer, but your hands always felt kind of dirty and like sticky. People were complaining about how they took away the pedicabs this year. I would rather have more water refill stations and like hand washing stations at the porta potties.
Yeah, I agree. Because there were hand washing stations at the porta potties in the festival.
Yeah.
And then also my last takeaway from just general observations about camping is it was kind of funny how you never felt dry even though you were in the desert because we were literally always so sweaty. Like my hands and legs were just like soaking wet all the time.
All my clothes were so wet. And yeah, for getting ready, like Kaya and I would do our makeup in the Tesla using like the mirrors in the front seats.
Oh, best part of the day.
Because we got to run the AC for a little bit. But yeah, my face was like so sweaty putting on sunscreen and makeup. But some people also have such elaborate like getting ready setups. Like girls would have like whole like tables with like mirrors and like
and you're not allowed to bring mirrors, but definitely people would sneak them in, which is kind of funny. You're not allowed to bring mirrors because of the glass, I should clarify.
Because they don't believe in primping. You're camping. It's about nature.
No, it's a public humiliation ritual. They make all the campers not be able to get ready so that we can distinguish the trash from the influencers and celebrities in the festival.
But yeah, people were looking really good despite camping, and I thought we looked pretty good. And
we pulled it together.
Yeah, we pulled it together. But some people had generators, so they would also be using heat on their hair.
Oh my god, I literally would have crashed out if like someone tried to put heat on my hair.
The best feeling was right after the shower when your hair was wet.
Or just in the shower, in the icy shower.
Kaya the first night was like, I don't get it. If the showers are free, why aren't we just showering all the time?
Like, why are we at any of these music sets when we could just be in the showers? Why did I pay any of this money to come here when I could be cold in a shower?
When I could be home in the shower.
It was so fucking hot. Well, should we talk a little bit about the community that we observed? So we went around and we did some interviews with people in the campground one of the mornings before going into the festival. And it was fun. I feel like it did give me a sense of why people would camp. Like, I do feel like if you want to be involved in like the Coachella community, you should camp. That's how you like meet other people. Like, for example, we talked to this woman who she was camping with her daughter next to this group of like 20-something-year-old guys. And they had been like...
They were like young. They were like... younger than us for sure.
Yeah, I think so. And
they said something like
about how they loved Post Malone.
No, they said something like, oh, like when I first went in like 2019 when I was like 18 or something.
They were like, when I was born after 9/11. That's how they started talking to us.
You're with a big group of guys here. How do you know each other?
I met them last year at Coachella. I came solo with my daughter.
That's so fun. How old is your daughter?
15.
You're such a fun mom.
Thanks.
What are you most excited for, and what's your daughter most excited for?
I'm excited for the Misfits, and she's excited for Travis Scott.
So how did you meet this group? You were next to each other.
I came last year solo with my daughter, and then I parked next to all the boys, and they're like, "There's a hot mill. There's a hot mill." So then we became friends, and we've hung out all year. So then now we're here again, all together.
That's so cute.
It's like a family reunion.
Aww.
Yeah.
So that was sweet.
Yeah. No, people meet and then like, I guess maintain friendships, and then we'll make it a tradition to camp together, which is cool. And these guys, like when we came up to interview them, they were grilling fajitas, and they like kept offering us fajitas and like water.
We clearly looked so down bad because we left our camp for like 5 minutes to go try to interview people. And this guy is like standing in direct sun, shirtless, above a hot fajitas grill, completely chilling. And we walk up and they're like, "Are you guys okay? Like, do you need water? Like, do you want to get in the shade?"
We start interviewing them. I'm like, "Your phone's overheating. Your phone's overheating."
Yeah, we had to put my phone in the shade under the car, let her cool down. We were just not built for the heat, but they were super nice. And they gave me a quesadilla they made on the grill. They were super friendly. They gave us free cold iced water. So that was nice.
Yeah, really nice.
And like theoretically you could hang out with people like all night. Like you could come back to camp and keep hanging out. We did not have it in us.
And there were like parties, like silent discos going on after Coachella ended.
But even just going to like Day Zero, Chris Lake, and walking around meeting people, it was fun. I want to go over my list of things that you definitely need and things that you do not need.
Yeah, let's do it. And then we can talk about our cost breakdown.
Okay. Operation De-influence Coachella. I wanted to do this because the algorithm got so Coachella specific for us before on the Not My Scene account, like before going to Coachella, because we were watching videos about what you need, and then I was getting so many promoted videos being like, these are all of the products that you need to order from Amazon before Coachella, and like so many of them you do not need. So de-influence things that you do need, and I want to know what you think too.
Okay.
Definitely a canopy for shade.
Yes.
Like definitely, otherwise you will die
Yeah.
or you will kill yourself.
Yeah.
A floor blanket, I think, is very helpful.
That was really nice. And we had chairs to sit in, but sometimes it was really nice to like lie down on it.
Yeah, because heat rises, so we had to be a foot lower on the ground.
Yeah.
You definitely need a hat. I think you need more clean clothes than I anticipated needing, because you get so sweaty and gross at camp every day that you really want like a different change of clean camp clothes every day before you get ready for the festival.
And every night to sleep.
And every night. So just like so many clean t-shirts and
and like tiny like tank tops that are comfy.
The tiniest little tube tops and tiny little baby crop tops.
No, some people would walk around like just in like bras or like in bikinis because it was like so hot.
And that was awesome.
And I would love to see that.
It's good to have a bandana or scarf or normal face mask for dust. You don't need to buy like a silk scarf or a bandana.
True.
We have so many face masks in the world, but something for when you're
like you can just use
around.
like a COVID mask.
Because I do think the dust will get stuck in your throat.
Yeah.
Even if we hadn't gotten COVID-chella, we probably would have gotten COVID.
We would have had dustchella.
Dustchella cough. And then shower shoes. I saw a girl in leather. It was giving like the Fry campus boots. She was in her leather boots in the shower truck, and they were like wet. And someone said, "Girl, you showered in those?" And she was like, "Yeah, I don't have shower shoes." That you don't want to be that person.
No.
I saw someone else in like mini ankle Uggs.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm assuming these people took them off when they actually got into the shower, but that's also very gross. And then you have to put your wet feet into the leather boots.
You definitely want shower shoes.
Definitely shower shoes. And then a water jug. Yeah, because it takes forever to get
I would
water
say
there.
the cooler was really nice. It was nice to have like some cold bevs and snacks.
Yeah, definitely cooler. And you can buy ice there.
Mm-hmm. And also they drive around to like deliver ice. You have to pay for it, obviously. You have to pay a premium.
Yeah. Anything else that you like definitely need to have? We didn't need sleeping bags, I should have said. You just need like a blanket.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's cooler. We shouldn't speak for every Coachella.
No.
If it's going to be 100 degrees, you don't need a down sleeping bag.
I think like a little light for your campground site is nice. Like we had a couple light bulbs and string lights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was nice. But there is quite a bit of light pollution.
True.
So like you don't need it, but it was nice to have.
Nice to have, yeah.
And then a meme flag, obviously. As many meme flags as you can
As
get
many
your paws
outdated
on.
memes as possible.
If you can get a meme flag with Pepe the Frog, that's ideal. But
If you can get an OG troll meme flag that's covered it as fuck.
yeah, a soy jack meme flag, that would be really good.
What is soy jack?
It's like
It's
like
it's a guy pointing.
looking shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you drink too much soy milk or something. I don't know. When you eat too many Luna bars. Okay, de-influencing. Things that you don't need. A shower robe, do not need.
No.
A shower basket, you do not need. You can just bring a plastic bag.
True.
Or just hold all your shit in your hands.
Would not recommend that. I dropped my clean tank top on the shower floor. Like the shared shower floor.
Uh-huh. Okay, so plastic bag. You don't need a camp stove.
No.
I feel pretty firm about that.
I agree.
honestly.
Some people were really like one of our neighbors was always grilling.
One of our neighbors was always making eggs. I smelled eggs like
And
constantly.
I always making hot dogs or
Yeah.
bacon.
You don't need that.
Because it's hot, you don't want to be cooking, and you don't, just eat the Uncrustables, or like we ate a lot of like hummus and baby carrots and snap peas, which was so nice.
Yeah.
And like cold grapes, that's what you want to be eating.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to do it, like, okay, we're not going to stop you. But
Yeah.
I will say, I feel like a lot of the time when I try to really chef it up when I'm camping, I end up spending like more money than I would have expected just on the ingredients. And it's like, at this rate, I could have just bought Uncrustables or food in the festival.
I mean, if you have a big group, it's pretty cost effective to make a bunch of hot dogs. But
yeah. Also, there's a shuttle that you can take to the market that's free. It seemed like the line was really long.
I'm really glad that we didn't depend on that. It's there if you need it, but I would recommend like planning to not do that, because it seems like that would have taken a lot of our day and been really hot.
Yeah, I agree.
To like stand in line for the shuttle.
Yeah, I agree. In terms of cheap food, though, in the festival, you could get onigiri rice balls for $9, which were pretty filling for one. Or
But
you could
two
get,
is really a meal.
Yeah, but you could get a very big piece of pizza for $11, which obviously insane price for pizza, but pretty cheap for like a dinner meal.
Yeah.
I don't think you need a table. You can use the cooler top. I guess if you had a bigger group and you wanted to like play games, but otherwise you don't really need a table for anything because of the aforementioned floor sitting. Okay, this might be a hot take. I don't think you need like a handheld motorized fan unless the fan also has misting or liquid production capabilities because it's so hot that moving air doesn't even really help. Like,
I thought that maybe if we had a bigger fan that we could put like in a corner, that would be nice. Because whenever like a little breeze came through, it was really nice.
Okay, maybe.
Because it like cools the sweat on you.
Yeah, because we're already wet, so we don't need a liquid production method. Yeah, that's true.
Cool.
All right, should we do our little price breakdown before we wrap things up?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this is like about the cheapest that you could do Coachella unless you live in LA already. And then it could be cheaper.
And already like have the stuff.
Yeah. So our tickets were $600. We did like the 4-pack early bird. But they ended up being only $425 because we planned to sell our Sunday tickets. We didn't really want to see Post Malone and we knew that we were going to be burnt out.
Yeah.
So we coordinated in advance to sell our tickets to someone who was going with his family on Sunday. And that was, we got $175 back. So for the 2 days, it was $425. And it was super easy to do. A lot of people were looking to buy wristbands. So if you are curious about doing that, I feel like it's super doable.
Yeah.
And it was easy. We just took like plastic transparent hair ties and cinched the wristband with that instead of like cinching the actual band. And I feel like as long as you're subtle about it when you're scanning, it's totally fine.
Yeah. And 2 days was the right amount for us. We
could not have done 3 days. Maybe in less heat.
Yeah.
But definitely not.
Yeah.
In these conditions. The car rental and charging was $90 a person. That's from Turo. Shout out Turo. And yeah, charging for the full weekend. $90 per person. But we drove from San Diego. And then our food was like $50 per person each. Pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And that includes like yerba mates and stuff and Gatorade. Camping was around $40 to $50 each per person because we had 4 people split in the campsite. And you could do, I think 4 people in one campsite works when you have 2 people sleeping in the car.
Yeah.
It would have been very smushed. I don't think we could have done 4 people in a tent in the camp.
Yeah.
We could have, but it would have been like really
That
tight.
would have been bad.
The tent would have taken up
It would
like,
have
the
been
whole
so
campsite.
hot.
And you wouldn't even be able to thrash even though you would have been outside.
Yeah.
Um
Also, some people, when they had the canopy with the walls, they would just do like air mattress in the canopy, no tent, which seems really nice.
Yeah, that does sound really nice. Okay, yeah, that was the one thing that we bought was we bought a canopy. It was like $60. I was worried that it was not going to be high enough quality, but honestly, it was great. It was totally fine. So that was like $15 a person for the canopy. And then otherwise, we used all of our own camping gear. and borrowed from friends.
Yeah.
And then flights for me were like $80 round trip. They were super cheap, weirdly, and we even flew out of Palm Springs. So I
Yeah.
don't know what's up with that. Maybe because we came out on Sunday instead of Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And then money spent in the festival. We brought granola bars in each day and like like gels and like goos and things like that. So I ate one onigiri the first day, which was $9. And then I ate 2 onigiri the second day, so that was $18. And then I split a $15 vodka lemonade with a friend. It was just a $15 lemonade, and then we brought in some shooters in our tall boots. Very easy. You can bring in plastic shooters in your boots, and that made it vodka lemonade. And that's all the money I spent in the festival.
Pizza, you guys.
Oh, and pizza, and I had one $11 slice of pizza that day too. So total, that puts the whole festival, like money spent inside, tickets, camping, everything, around $750 for me.
Yeah.
Which honestly, obviously super expensive, but
I know it's like when you're like, well, I could do that or go on a trip, sure.
But it was less money than I expected to spend. And if you do want to do it cheap, like that is way cheaper than, you know, staying in an Airbnb is going to be super expensive in Palm Springs.
So we definitely did it pretty much to the cheapest you could, unless you have like somewhere to stay for free.
Yeah. I would say that's about as cheap as you can do. If someone can do it for cheaper, I would love to hear how you're doing it.
Yeah. That should be a challenge.
Yeah. Cheapchella challenge.
Yes. Brokechella.
Brokechella.
So would you camp again at Coachella?
Okay. Unfortunately, camping at Coachella as a woman in her late 20s, no longer my scene. There were things about it I liked. Like, I'm really glad that the first time we went to Coachella, we camped, because I think I wouldn't have felt as much a part of the community if we had stayed in an Airbnb. And it was fun to just get to meet like down to earth people who weren't like fitted up in the festival. But knowing that you have to commit to a weekend before you know what the weather is going to be, I could not camp in 100-degree heat again.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think I would camp again.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think just unfortunately getting a little too old for it. Definitely if I was like 20, I could do a few more years probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love camping and I love music. I like music festivals, but doing this intense of a music festival in this intense of an environment with camping is really hard. The hard part is that you're always outside.
Yeah, I think like people may say like, oh, well, you know, you spent so little money, like your camp setup was so bare bones, like that's why you feel like you can't do it again. But honestly, I think the issue for me was like always being outside. So even when you're in the shade, the resting temperature is like what feels like 95 degrees or something on you. Makes you like flee into the festival so much earlier.
Right.
And then we were in the festival from like 1:30 or 2 p.m. until 1 a.m. And that's just like a really long time to be in heat.
Yeah.
But it was fun to meet everyone, and I had so much fun at the day zero thing. Like, I think if I do go back to Coachella, I would make an effort to try to go to the day zero DJ, because it was very fun and low key, and it was a fun way to meet people. And you were able to go even if you didn't camp. So.
And also, I don't regret going. Like, I'm glad that I had the experience.
Mm-hmm. And you don't regret camping?
No.
Me neither. It was fun. It was funny.
Like, it's like the one time in my life I'm ever going to do that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never say never, but...
You're never going to see those meme flags again.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
All right. Should we do some Scenester Sister?
Yeah.
Okay, so signing off of Coachella.
But
we will
make sure to tune in.
Part 2, we're going to be talking about
the festival.
We're going to get into the meat of it.
To actually talk about the music we saw, The vibes there.
The B-list celebrities we saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so I can just read them since I have the computer next to me.
Okay. Scenester sister time.
Yeah, we told us, well, Kaya told a hilarious and bizarre tale on our Cookfluencer episode about this couple that had a strange relationship with eggs. So we got lots of theories from you all on what you thought was going on at that ski lodge. So from Lily, she said, okay, sounding off with my egg theory, buckle up. I think Jim invited the couple to do something on their ski trip that was more expensive, like stay at a nicer resort or pay for some private lessons, etc., etc. And the couple was like, we can't afford that. We're trying to save money. And then they were afraid that if they were caught with eggs, which are so expensive right now, they'd come off as fake liars to their pal Jim. Like, how can you possibly afford eggs in this economy? SMH.
I like that.
I like that theory too. In general, we got a lot of theories about the price of eggs, which, I mean, I think that's a pretty likely explanation, except for the fact that they're skiing, which is just inherently like more expensive than eggs.
Right. It would be like
Eggs.
going to
My
Coachella and
accent's
having
back.
and being concerned about the price of eggs.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I've been there. That's kind of us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I feel like it would more be like a egg scarcity thing than an egg price thing.
Yeah, like they just didn't have enough eggs to go around.
Yeah. Clara said they probably stole Jim's eggs, or Jim is afraid of eggs, like some sort of weird phobia.
Love.
Drew said they told Jim they were vegan for the past 10 years. That's kind of like similar to the like diet theory.
Mm-hmm. Specifically the past 10 years. They had a look about them like it had been a decade-long lie.
Dalton said maybe he was their backyard egg vendor and they started buying from someone else.
Mm-hmm.
That's a funny one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he can tell those weren't his eggs.
Well, he would just have like a very clear idea of what eggs were going in and what eggs were not going in.
Yeah, like what was their current egg stock?
Yeah, consumption rate.
Yeah, that was all the egg theories. And then Ian had some input about the meat of the episode, about Bonap, and he said there was
About
a
the
pretty
egg of
good
the episode.
expose done by Reply All podcast about the structural racism and hostile work environment at BA. It was supposed to be a 4-part series, but before they finished, they got canceled for the same shit in their work environment.
Wait, what?
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
And like, I actually started listening to that podcast in prep for the episode, but I was kind of like distracted, like I was cleaning or something. But I remember hearing some like intro beforehand, of, like acknowledging that something had happened and that they were not continuing the series.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
I know. It's kind of like that show, The Other Two. Did you hear?
I love that show.
Yeah, it was like the toxic, like how people get toxic when they start having success in show business, and then their show ended for the same reasons allegedly.
Yeah, but that show's
So good.
Oh my
Highly
god.
recommend.
Yeah, that's my scene. The Other Two. So good.
All right. Well, thanks all. If you have any thoughts, email us in at notmyscenepod@gmail.com, and we'll talk to you soon.
We're so excited. We'll be back with the festival soon. Bye.
Bye.